Hello and welcome to the legal side of things. My guest on the show today is one of the nation's most brilliant legal minds. He is Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, and I'm going to welcome him also by talking a little bit about him. The country's youngest senior advocate at 34 years, the country's youngest additional solicitor general at 37 years, a parliamentarian, one of the most recognized faces on television, and also someone, like I said, the most brilliant legal minds in the country. Sir, before I ask you about your telecom cases, before I ask you about being the opposition's favorite lawyer, I want to begin at the very start. At the age of 4, you were on the streets of Jodhpur, where your father was fighting an election. He's a statesman, a parliamentarian himself, Dr. L.M. Singhvi. His 11th memorial lecture that you just had a few days ago. Tell us a little bit about those years. Tell us about how you were running on the streets and saying takri do, takri do.
That was 1962. My date of birth is 1959. My grandfather was active in the Congress. In fact, he was the first elected member of the only elections they held in those cases in the Jan Parishad, which was a kind of a municipal body allowed by the British. He had very close Congress connection and was like a brother to the second chief minister of Rajasthan, Jayanarayan Vyas. It was commonly believed that he would get a ticket in independent India. My grandfather had indifferent health from fairly early on and died very young. So when my father, who was a very remarkably qualified person from a place like Jodhpur, a gold medalist from Allahabad, Rajasthan's first Rotary scholar to Harvard in 1953-1954, and then he did his PhD from Cornell, and then got on the staff of Berkeley. This is in 1955-56. But he was called back by his family, who were not in very good financial circumstances, but still they didn't want his dollar income. So after coming here, within a year or 6 months, his father died, as my grandfather.
Right.
And he established his practice in Jodhpur. Now it was commonly believed 3 years later, he came back in 57, he had established himself by 59 or so. In 62 parliamentary elections, it was commonly believed that he would get the Congress ticket. He's quite a brilliant man, a great orator in Hindi, could speak Sanskrit, very good English. The people, the local people there, all of whom were very close family friends of my grandfather, used to come home. But as is typical in India, the sardine mentality, they felt that he was a young man who, if he could establish his roots, would be a huge threat to them. So all the senior leaders, including congressmen, ganged up and went to England, to Delhi, and ensured that the ticket, the Congress ticket, was cut for the Lok Sabha. So at the age of 30, my father, just over 30, my father stood on a dare as an independent against the official Congress nominee in 1962. And typically was supported by the entire anti-Congress forces because he was independent, completely independent. At 31, on a budget of 15,000 rupees, he got elected to the Lok Sabha. And that's how we moved to Delhi. Otherwise, we would have been in Jodhpur for longer.
Right.
Now, at that time, I was 3.5, 4, and we used to stay in a somewhat small flat over a cinema hall called Minerva. And from there, in the morning, the procession would start. Those days, we used to have megaphones. And maybe to get some sympathy or some curiosity, they'd put this young boy on the shoulders. That's me. And I would be asked to speak in somewhat lisping. Or takri in Rajasthani means scales of justice.
Okay.
And that was the symbol my father had chosen. So takri ko vote do is the phrase they taught me to parrot like a child. And then, the procession would wind its way through the alleys of Jodhpur. It was a remarkable feeling because he was really supported by idealism, and the students and everybody rallied around him. And he pulled off this remarkable victory in 62. And ironically, in 67, when nobody expected him to lose, not one person, he lost. And that's how he came full-time in the profession and became the president of the bar in 2 years after that. So life is full of surprises.
It's lovely to hear that, and I think it's almost lovely to hear takri do on the legal side of things, because this is also a program where we talk about justice. So we go on to your early years. You topped among 250 schools. You were at St. Columbus. You were a topper from KG to 8th standard. You went on to do the very prestigious economic honors course at St. Stephen's. Your colleagues were also Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul and Justice Chandrachud. You also spoke about that time. You nearly topped even St. Stephen's. Tell us a little bit about those years.
Well, I was and am in fact an introvert, contrary to popular belief. All the work I do in law and public life projects a very extrovertish image, but I'm actually a complete introvert. And I was much more sore in school. And all my 11 years, in those days they were from kindergarten only class 11, were in St. Columbus school. And I always joke that in a sense it has always been downhill after that. Because nobody could do better, since I topped all the sections, 5 sections of class 9 and got a prize called the Lavi Chandrasekhar prize. And then I topped all the 5 sections of 10. And then in 11, in those days the top system was Senior Cambridge, almost 200-250 schools and the best in the country. St. Doon School, St. Paul's, St. Edmunds, Mayo, all these took Senior Cambridge across India. So I topped that exam, and we used to have a system of points. The lower points you got was better. So 5 is the minimum, is the lowest you could get. So 5 is the highest, in fact, by topping. So I had 495s and 190. So my average was 94%. And I got my name up in the school Hall of Fame.
Lovely.
So in that sense, it's always been downhill after that, because I've never done that well after that. But it was a good time, and interestingly, fate decides things. I got a so-called OPOS scholarship, which is for those who top the Senior Cambridge.
Right.
And my parents decided not to allow me to avail of that, because it's too young. Straight after school, I would have gone otherwise to England. And so I went to college in Delhi, and that was St. Stephen's. Stephen's, perhaps you don't know, there was a phase in India, and there is really a mystery what caused that phase. Roughly from the late 70s to the mid 80s, when Stephen's Economics Honours was more sought after than management, IIM and IIT combined. It was just some kind of a USP about it. And Stephen's is a very snooty college, and so they picked up all the toppers of each board, the All India High Secondary Board guy, the West Bengal guy, the Senior Cambridge chap. Then they picked up the seconds. So we had 2 powerful sections, one particularly powerful section in Economics Honours. And so there was a second set of associations. Chief Justice Chandrachud, Dhananjay as we called him, and we called him actually Danny, was with me in school also.
Okay. Before we go across, I want to know the story about this tree before I ask you about your palatial house, sir.
No, it's more important to be a home. All the credit for all this goes to, much as I would like to take it, goes to my wife.
Yes, sir.
Who's very artistically inclined. It goes a lot to me also, because it's important to know what your core competence is and keep out of harm's way by not interfering in somebody else's core competence. So that's my contribution to all this. This is actually an olive tree from Italy, and it's said to be 700 years old.
How did it come here?
They have facilities to get them here.
Oh,
we have another smaller one behind.
I have also heard from your balcony up there, the terrace, you can see some of the oldest trees in this entire area.
This whole area is very nice because it is in bang opposite Lodi Gardens. It's a 360 degrees greenery.
Amazing.
You can't pay money and get trees like that.
Yes.
These are also old trees, but this tree here, take for example that one.
Yes.
No amount of money can buy you that tree.
So
Look at those trees outside. And the inner road here, away from the main road, is a very good place for trees to grow and the sound to be buffered. This part is partly my contribution, because I like to have somewhat Grecian or older classical style as the facade is concerned.
The facade is lovely.
Almost entirely everything here is my wife's contribution, but the facade is to a large extent mine. And we also have high double ceilings, which has a different impact.
We now walk into the back lawns with Dr. Singhvi, and we're the only channel, and we're getting this exclusively on the legal side of things, that we're getting to see this. Thank you, Dr. Singhvi, for that. I now take you back to your Cambridge years. You spent 7 years at Cambridge. You did your undergrad, your postgrad, and also your PhD thesis in emergency powers, and you've written a 2 lakh word thesis on that. And I also have to say it's one of the most widely regarded theses on that subject. Some very rarely has something been written on it. A few years ago the book was published as well. I want you to talk about that, your Cambridge years, and also tell us how those years were. You also taught at St. John's.
Well, Rhythm, this house is not a secret location, but it's just that I have an office separate in Sundarnagar, so very few people come here. That's the only reason fewer people have seen it. Now, just to finish,
loves exclusives.
Now, just to finish the Stephens part, as I said, I was a pretty good student till end of school, and I remained a good student in college. But I got little involved in the Students' Council, which is a kind of a elected intra-college elected body, and at the same time, Dhananjay, Danny as to call him, started on Revenge Academia. I always joke with him.
Okay.
He's a very industrious, very hard-working person, and he studied hard and he topped.
Okay.
And I got a respectable 3rd or 4th place in the entire university, which is like 50 colleges in Delhi University.
Okay.
But it was nothing like what I said in school, therefore it was downhill. So I think Danny outstripped everybody else. From there I joined the law faculty for a short while.
Right.
And many of the other judges at the same time in the Supreme Court were there.
Okay.
Justice Ravindra Bhatt, Justice Rishikesh Roy, many others. So in fact the other day they joked at some get together, they said that we admit you, that means they admit me as an honorary member for being in the law faculty of Delhi for 2 months. Because by then I had decided to go to Cambridge.
Cambridge, okay.
So after the 2 months here, the course in Trinity starts in October.
Right.
And I had got admission to the Tripos, which is probably one of the best courses to do in England, in law.
Okay.
But I got it at an excellent college, Trinity. Trinity is very unusual. It's by far, I would say, and I don't say it because I'm from there, the best college in both Oxford and Cambridge, which means over 44 odd colleges.
Right.
It's the richest institution. It is absolutely amazingly beautiful. Any of you have been to the Great Court and the other places?
Yes.
And it is also got teachers and dons, as we call them, cutting across all spheres, because they have the money to get the best.
Right.
And the supervisions, which you call tutorials in Oxford, are the best when you have competent people there. So I spent, in a sense, the longest time you could imagine, 7 years. And I stayed at all the accommodations as a raw undergraduate. Then as I got senior there, in a different accommodation, then married accommodation. I got married in 82 and went back with my wife after 1 year.
Okay.
And my first son was born there
Okay.
while I was studying PhD. So I experienced Cambridge and Trinity over 7 odd years, or just under 7 years. And I always say that it's a place which you need to be conscious of getting out of.
Right.
Because it's a fairy tale town.
Fairy tale town.
And if you get stuck there too long, then you start, being unfit for the real world.
Yes. And what did you eat in Cambridge, being a vegetarian?
It was a culture shock when I went as a young, 19, 20-year-old chap in 1979, 20 years old. And on a cold October, I remember, I landed up there, that's when the term starts. And friendless, alone, and English food is considered the worst on the continent anyway. On top of that, vegetarian. So I started surviving on mashed potatoes, beans, and things like that, and bread and bread and bread. Slowly I got my bearings and started cooking dal, rajma, rice, and I even tried my hand and almost burned the kitchen down trying papad later on. But I was a fair cook on dal, rajma, and a few things by the end of 3 or 4 months.
Do you still remember how to make this?
Yeah, for a long time I could. I haven't done that in the recent past, but I make a decent rajma, I make a decent dal, I make one or two vegetables not badly.
Very nice.
But that's been ages ago. But Cambridge was, and by the time I was finishing my PhD, we had got married accommodation, which is a whole bungalow.
Okay.
Because by then my elder son was here. And I had started supplementing my income. I used to get 16 pounds for supervisions in St. John's. St. John's is the adjacent college,
Okay.
which is Dr. Manmohan Singh's college.
Okay.
That's where he was.
Okay.
And they would hire those they thought suitable to supervise St. John's students. By then I was a senior, so I would supplement my income with those 16 pounds. I was getting settled down there. And possibly had I not had a very Indian connectedness and rootedness in my family, if I stayed a little longer, I would have gone into academia. It was basically an academic at heart at that time, and Cambridge is a wonderful place. So it was very lucky I pulled out when I did.
Yes, I think another quirk of fate, like you say, but I think it is also something that has also been India's gain.
In his college days, ये बहुत famous प्रचलित था कि if he is reading a book or if he is reading a file, कि अगर सामने बम भी फटे तो his neck would not turn that way. उनका concentration इतना heavy था. So I got actually quite inspired by his depth of knowledge and also the जो research ये कर सकते हैं कोई चीज़ पे और जो पढ़ा जो इनको शौक है academic शौक उससे. I got truly inspired by that.
I also now want to ask you about the beautiful furnishings, the upholstery here. Tell us a little bit about that painting.
I've already told you that I know my core competence and I've contributed a lot by keeping out of harm's way. All this is my wife's doing. But the paintings, I have a bit of a role to play.
Yes.
This is very interesting. It's completely a painting. And if you see it carefully, it looks like a real carpet.
It looks like a carpet, yes.
So this is an American chap,
Okay.
interesting guy called Antonio Santin. He's a Spanish in America.
Lovely.
And he has made more of these, but he had stopped doing this by the time I saw this.
Okay.
So I then asked somebody who knew him, and I got this specially commissioned.
Okay.
So I said, I love this painting, you have to do it. So he's one of the last. He had already stopped doing these. So this is that. But the really special ones are these.
Yes.
This one is Raja Ravi Verma,
Yes.
which is a non-exportable heritage item. You know, Indian artists have a couple of names,
Yes.
not couple, 5, 6 names, which are not exportable. Tagore, Amrita Shergill,
Yes.
Raja Ravi Verma, this one,
Of course.
and a few others. This is a very good Sousa head, this one. It's
You
the
have a
old
lot
Sousa.
of Sousas, I was noticing.
I have. Some lesser known, less good, the others very good. This is a man who has come up a lot in the recent past,
This is lovely.
Manjeet Baba.
Yes, of course.
The size is very good, and Manjeet is there.
That's his signature style, and
Yes,
it's so
signature style.
brilliant.
And it's large enough to have an impact.
Yes.
And these are interesting chaps you won't find much in India. This is a up and coming, very good artist and now getting famous and getting expensive, is Salman Toor of Pakistan,
Right.
who sells abroad very high and well. And this is my only foreign acquisition.
Okay.
I don't acquire foreign anymore because the import tax is very high. It's 33% above the price and the GST. But this is an actual Renoir.
Right. Oh, wow.
So there's a whole gallery to this in Paris.
Yes, of
This is of course the lesser, the more affordable one.
Yes.
But this is a French impressionist. And if you go to Paris, there are galleries of 5 or 6 French with Van Gogh and Renoir and
Yes, of
all those people. This of course is a good old Hussein, and I like the ones which are less common, and this is a less common
Yes.
Hussein. Hussein was one of the most talented chaps,
Yes.
but unfortunately he diluted himself by making too many paintings. Now this is one of the ones he's made less of. This is Mother Teresa and the...
But I also have seen your statement pieces such as this, Dr.
This we
Singhvi.
got from Turkey.
It's
Turkey is a very favorite destination. In the old days I went first, and later my wife went alone with her friends. But I got this from Turkey. This is Turkish work on ceramic.
We do want to ask Sir and Dr. Singhvi about the political patronage, but first about this wonderful room that we're in.
I discovered him at Lakshmi Mittal's home.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the type of work of this chap which Lakshmi Mittal can afford, I can't. So he's called Rafiq Shaw, the
Okay.
Kashmiri settled in England.
Okay.
And this is one of his lesser, kind of less expensive ones, but it's going to be amazing. So I got after finding some contact for him and went there.
Right.
And could not afford any of his paintings.
Right.
But I bought something on a secondary sale much later here in India. But let me tell you the visit I made to him in London. He's a complete maverick, an eccentric, genius, genius.
Right.
My wife and I went to his place on the outskirts of London, I mean, little away from central London.
Yes.
And he's got a kind of a warehouse.
Okay.
But when you enter, there's a lovely garden, beautiful Japanese garden, amazingly beautiful.
Right.
And at the end of it, we saw a gardener with deep pockets and that thing they wear, the uniform, and he was cutting and chopping. And when we walked in, he looked at us and I said, just hold there, don't move. And he made us put against some plants. And then he started taking photographs. That was Rafiq Shaw.
Oh.
And Rafiq Shaw spent 2 hours not showing his paintings, not allowing to, just photographing us. I have lovely photographs. He said, then he said, you come inside. Then he showed us his studio.
Right.
Then he showed us the place where he's making one of the largest paintings of humankind, hanging from a ceiling.
Oh gosh.
And he paints on this flat thing. So that's another part of it. Then he has a nursery. So he's one of those chaps, but he's unaffordable, frankly. This came luckily on a secondary sale.
Very nice.
Nothing to do with my meeting with him.
Very nice. He came here, viewers, and he sprinted fast ahead, running so much. On a personal note, I need to take a note from this because he's extremely fit. The questions that we're going to ask him, of course, going to be on his fitness, Dr. Singhvi, and also what he does on his leisure time on this lovely Lodi Gardens Saturday morning walk. Dr. Singhvi, what do you do in your leisure time?
Let me start by saying that I don't know whether I'm very fit. I certainly am not, but whether you are less than fully fit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Walking, I've always enjoyed for decades now. I used to live in Niti Bagh, so walking either in the Niti Bagh inside park, which is a very nice but a small park, very quiet, or on weekends regularly at City Fort Auditorium, which is a much larger walking track.
Right.
So over the years, we developed a walking gang in City Fort.
Oh, lovely.
Almost about 7-8 people.
Yes.
And that was very enjoyable because it would be followed
Yes.
on the weekend only, of course, Saturday, not also Sunday, not every Sunday, but Saturdays, with a breakfast or a coffee in a coffee cafe right in the middle of City Fort.
Of course, of course.
So that all the few calories we had walked out were added back again immediately. But that was a very nice gossip session. It's a great de-stressor.
Yes.
It's very green, although much less green than Lodi Gardens.
Yes.
About 3 years ago, I shifted to a house bang opposite here.
Right.
Literally opposite Lodi Gardens.
Yes.
And gate number 9 here is like less than a furlong from my residence.
Right.
So I walk here regularly. I think I manage 5 to 6 days a week on an average, which is pretty good.
Lovely.
I do miss sometimes on travel and other things.
Right.
I have a problem that I can't walk alone. So I need somebody to talk to me or just keep on giving me stories or narrations or gossip or whatever.
Right.
And I like to speak less. So sometimes the walk gets missed because somebody who intends to walk with me is not available, etc.
Okay.
But on the whole, I manage about 5 to 6 times a week. Lodi Gardens is unprecedented, I would say.
Right.
We can call Hyde Park and all. Hyde Park is of course larger,
Yes.
no doubt. But the lushness, the forestry, the greenery,
Yes.
and also the foliage, the diversity here is unprecedented. I've never walked in Lodi Gardens except the last 2 years because I was not living here.
Yes.
But it's a great, it's a blessing we take for granted. Here also there are lots of walking gangs, and over time
Yes.
you end up saying hello to the same people who are walking roughly in my time slot of 8:15
Lovely.
a.m. to 9:15 or 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning.
So that's how you begin your mornings. So what is the day?
No, I don't begin my morning like that. I normally get up not later than 6:15.
Okay.
And from 6:15, that's why I keep the walk at 8:15, 8:30.
Okay.
Because mentally I feel comfortable that before that I have finished, if there are any leftover files,
Okay.
any instructions.
Okay.
About 10 minutes is taken on a daily con call with my entire chamber
Right.
for deciding the sequence of cases that day, because that's even more important than the substantive content of the case.
Okay.
Because you can't you know, how not to miss a case.
That's extremely thorough.
So-
and you do this 5 days a week.
5 days a week religiously around 8 o'clock.
Amazing.
After which I start the walk. Finish the leftover files before 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Enjoy my tea.
Right.
The competition in the morning is obviously between newspaper,
Right.
this con call,
Yes.
leftover files,
Right.
and the walk. So mostly I'm able to do three or four things by the morning before 8:15.
Right.
And the leftover newspapers, one paper I may read, I read 4 papers. So in the evening I finish the rest.
And what do you do after this? What's a typical day on a Monday to Friday that in a day that looks like? Because I want to ask you about this image you have of being a multitasker. You start your Mondays with 14 cases, and viewers, why I stress on this is because it's extremely difficult to keep pace even in the Supreme Court with Dr. Singhvi with 14 cases, with running there, with running to the Congress headquarters, with giving media reactions. How do you manage it all?
Well, I think first and foremost, you of course may have seen it then.
Right.
That sequence, that multitasking is considerably diminished now. For
God.
decades, for about 15 years at least, from
Yes.
early 2000s to recently, I have truly multitasked in situations which may not be very good for the health.
Right.
For example, this is a typical day in that decade, let's say 2000 to 2010.
Yes. Yes.
You would, and by the way, Friday is my TGIF factor.
Okay.
My happiness quotient is highest by late afternoon on Friday.
So we know when to call you.
It's internal. It's not that I'm free, I'm working, but the internal psychology is happiest. It diminishes by 33% by Saturday evening. It becomes further diminished by another 60% by Sunday. In the morning, Monday, I have blues. Monday blues are a regular.
But you know,
Of
this
course,
is
I
very
forget
important.
those Monday blues
Yes.
in about half an hour, 1 hour when I'm running around court.
Yes,
Everything
yes.
is forgotten.
But Dr. Singhvi, it's very important for us to understand, since you're a legend, since you're someone who's doing this, you're the most brilliant mind in the country. It's important to understand that this discipline that you have, it takes rigor, and even you do have those blues, but you just persist and continue.
Well, I think Monday morning blues are not a very uncommon phenomenon. But to come back to what I used to do, which is not good for the health, is that you would rush off to court between, nothing can not make you be in court by 10:30 because that's the schedule of the court.
Right.
You may have item 1, you may have a mentioning, you may have item 5, so you're rushing. Now, in the old days, it was very common, frequent, almost over a decade or 15 years, that I would do like say 5-7 cases between 10:30 and 12:30, for an example.
Right.
They'd all be against very senior counsel, high stakes, etc. So a lot of tension there.
Right.
At 12:30, I jump into my car
Right.
and change my shirt and enter Parliament.
Yes.
And in those days, the Congress was in power. So as you know, in Parliament, the respondent opens first, the opposition opens first.
Right.
The Treasury benches reply later. So I am proud to say that between 2006 and 2013 odd,
Yes.
every major debate from the Treasury benches,
Yes.
everyone, I was asked to open.
Lovely.
And I would land up in court even after, in Parliament, even after Jet Li or Yashwant Sinha or Arun Shori. In those days, Venkaiah Naidu had started the debate
Right.
as the opening lead speaker from the opposition benches. And I would slip into my seat, and well before they stopped,
Right.
I was ready to respond.
Okay.
That is multitasking number 2.
Yes.
Finish that by lunch
Yes, I remember.
or just after lunch.
Yes.
Come back to court and
Come
do a
back
few more
to court.
cases.
That's right.
And at 4 o'clock,
Yes.
do a press conference.
Yes.
And I once told, I've said this many times, that, you know, and these 3 are common, many days a week
Yes.
or many days a month.
Yes.
But the 4th one is uncommon, like once or twice a year. You do a 4th thing the same evening if you drive out to Meerut or Ghaziabad and address a rally.
My gosh.
Now the reason I'm saying these 4 is that the diversity of the idiom,
Yes.
the diversity of the style,
Yes.
the diversity of the content,
Yes.
the
It's very
diversity of
different.
the audience
Yes.
is one of the most remarkable learning curves you can imagine.
And you used to also cover debates in the evening.
And the evening,
You know, I didn't want to raise this question right yet, but since we are talking about the opposition, you are the main lead for the opposition. Whether it's Mamata Banerjee, whether it's, of course, the Congress party, whether it's Akhilesh Yadav, you're someone whom they all bank on. How difficult it is to represent all of them.
Well, let me say first of all, I feel privileged. It's a rare compliment, and I take it as a very genuine compliment without being bloated with ego about it. To that list, you can add Stalin. To that list, you can add the Kejriwals and the entire AAP.
The Kejriwal and getting him out of jail.
Probably the most widest spectrum of the political.
Who has it been most intriguing to represent Dr. Singhvi?
Each, I've always believed that what popular perception we have about political leaders,
Yes.
and most of them have a very low estimation in public opinion, that you're a politician, it's a dirty word.
Yes.
Actually, according to me, if you get to see them in action, each has a unique quality. They have many shortcomings, many failings. But there are always 1, 2, 3 unique qualities which you will find has taken them where they are, which the press and the public fails to appreciate.
Like what?
For example, take Kejriwal.
Yes.
He's a great communicator. He's one of the most finest communicators. He has age on his side.
Right.
And he can, connect with his audience, be it a small or large audience, miraculously. Take Sharad Pawar. He is the reverse, he doesn't mince his words, but very precise, almost technocratic. And his experience, longevity, makes him, get the feel of the issue very quickly. Take Sharad Pawar, another person I've represented, got his symbol back. Got the relevant symbol for him.
So, Dr. Singhvi, I wanted to ask you, Justice Verma case, corruption scene, do you think an FIR should have been registered?
You have to not decide a principle by reference to a particular individual.
Right.
The principle is very important to save, protect. Namely, you find any allegation of corruption. See, judges have to decide cases black or white. There will be one side dissatisfied, maybe 3 sides dissatisfied, 1 satisfied. Any allegation made by anybody can't straight away lead to FIR. That's point 1.
Right.
It can a normal individual like you or me. It can. But a judge, if you start allowing trigger-happy people to register FIRs, he'll stop functioning. The courts will stop functioning. Point 1. Point 2.
Having taken sanctions,
Point 2. Therefore, the filtering mechanism by the so-called Supreme Court procedure is a valid one. Therefore, the triple protective shield, remember there are 3. 1, the Supreme Court in-house, which is no statutory backing. Then the main statutory provided 3-man committee, 3-person committee. And then the impeachment itself is a good thing. But I do agree with you to the limited extent as a 5th point that once you have gone through some, let's say the statutory committee stage, even before impeachment, you may be justified thereafter, if the statutory committee report is in the affirmative, to file an FIR. That will need a new law, a new procedure, a new dispensation. But there is so much of disgust with this issue across the political spectrum and the citizenry spectrum that I think the time has come, but not in the way they are suggesting, that I make an allegation against you and I file a FIR the next day. After these 3 stages of filtering are over, if the evidence is so clear that the statutory committee also so holds, or maybe you can say after impeachment. After impeachment also it can be done.
When this issue was raised, it was just a small news. I have to admit, Arnab was the first editor-in-chief who took on this, spoke about it, demanded answers. That's when we saw the former Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, making it public after the outrage that was caused on Republic TV. Now, I just want to ask you, was the action of Justice Kaul correct in putting the video of the unaccounted cash on the website? Because there is a lot of people who are saying, that caused a judgment against Justice Verma.
Well, it was not Justice Kaul first, it was Justice Sanjeev Khanna.
I beg your pardon, Justice
Number
Sanjeev
1.
Khanna.
Number 2, it may have been at one level procedurally improper, but I think the Chief Justice, then Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna did it out of good intentions, good motive of transparency. I don't think it caused any major prejudice to the person concerned.
Correct.
Because it went through and is still going through 3 sieves, 3 filters. These are not filters, they are judges' judicial filters. They are not kids who will just be influenced by video use.
Absolutely.
So I think that is an exaggerated criticism.
I agree.
You may or may not, depending on the discretion of Chief Justice.
So at the end of the day, now if there's an FIR with all the procedures having been followed, Dr. Singhvi against Justice Verma, you think it's time?
As I said, it will require a new law, a new judgment, a new statute. But a FIR after the statutory committee of inquiry, or indeed after the impeachment, would be justified.
All right. We're back from the walk. Dr. Singhvi is looking extremely fresh now. Dr. Singhvi, I ask you now, what a day in your life looks like?
Well, let me start by saying that after October, this is in a sense the best part of the house.
Right.
As you'll see shortly, this 360 degrees lush greenery.
Yes.
Love of money, love of environment can't buy you these trees of 200 years old, even more.
Right.
Somebody told me that the maximum beehives are in this area. And as you know, bees thrive where the ecosystem, the biodiversity is the richest.
Right.
This is literally 360 degrees, apart from the fact that across the road is Lodi Gardens.
Yes.
So I love that part. And after October, I actually try to sit here on the sunny afternoons, including in December on a bonfire.
Lovely. Do you have friends over?
Very few. I am a little bit of a, as I said, antisocial introvert kind of guy. But yes, I have some close friends. For the same close friends or a larger circle, once in like 3 months I cook pizzas because I have a pizza machine.
Lovely.
Where I can in the winter afternoon.
Yes.
Now coming back to your day, I've already told you
Yes.
half or 3/4 of it.
Yes.
After that, as I said, coming back to court, doing more cases, doing a press conference in the evening, then I now need to rest. I used to straight away plunge into work, but about 40 minutes or 45 minutes I rest. From 5 o'clock, I'm a very strange kind of a counsel. I like to avoid conferences. So I save a lot of time, especially now that I don't spend so much time on media, by finishing conferences in the day in the huge gaps lawyers have. I have an old theory that lawyers are of course a busy species, but they are busier than they seem because the whole day is wasted.
Right.
So you have case 1 at 10:30,
Yes.
you have case 2 at 12:30, case
Yes.
3 at 2:30 and case 4 at 4 o'clock.
That's right.
Now you don't know when it will come, there is no fixed time.
That's right.
While you are waiting, you can finish a lot of these small conferences.
Fantastic.
Which is what I do. And that is
that's
a
the change
time
I've
management.
seen in- yes.
It's not very popular though.
Yeah.
I'm also considered a weird, eccentric chap in the sense that as much as 33% of first time matters, I try and do without a conference at all.
Yeah, so these are the
And
two things that you told
66%,
me. Yes.
66% of second and third time appearances,
Yes.
I do not take a conference. It saves me time, and you know, when there is a problem, I anyway telephone the person.
Yes.
Sometimes a lot of this is done for client satisfaction, which I
Yes.
appreciate.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, that few numbers, if I necessary, I either talk to them on a con call or I get them for a short conference. That happens mostly in Sundarnagar, my office, which is from about say 5 to 6, 6:30. I rarely go beyond that. The rest is then reading on my own, which is useful.
Right.
I think people underestimate the importance of making a sequence of arguments.
Yes.
So you know the same facts, I know the same facts,
Yes.
he knows the same law. But arranging it in a sequential manner as to how you think is best to present it to the court is some time I spend.
Okay.
Then I am a very limited socializer on rare occasions. The only exceptions are some very, very close friends' birthday or anniversary or weddings.
Right.
Weddings also I go to one function out of 5 or 4.
Right.
3 are common in Delhi. I prefer to locate these always on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if I have to go at all. So then I can do variety of things. Unfortunately, that is my vice taking over then. I spend an unnecessary 1.5 hours every night doing de-stressing through watching action thrillers.
Lovely.
Now that's very nice.
Thank God,
but
something
it's,
that the common people
I wish I would start reading more at that time. In the recent past, I've started the singing part.
do. Okay, singing
So
part.
I spend some time formally every Sunday.
Right.
And when I get the gaps, I practice some of my singing.
Oh, really?
And maybe
That's
at the
so
end, I'll
fascinating.
play for you something which I can do. That's how the day ends. But weekdays are a blur because along with this comes political things. Now there is occasionally a political meeting in the evening,
Right.
which I have to attend.
Right.
I don't like it on a weekday, but I have to. There are press conferences for the AICC, which I take at 4:15, 4:30.
Yes.
Very limited, but still happens once in a while. Very much reduced from I'm talking the old and the current. Then there are occasionally some, banquet for a vice president going out or coming in,
Yes.
or a voting, or then there are of course serious discussions. We are the core committee, so serious policy issues. Sometimes 7, 8, 10 of us sit together. That's at short notice. The problem with politics is even more short notice and more chaotic than law. So it's never a dull moment. I very much enjoy the fact that I've done reading the files by 8, 8:30, and I can indulge in my wrongful vice.
So, what action films are you currently watching, or episodes or series?
I've got the good, bad and the indifferent. It's just a de-stressor, but Prime, Amazon and Netflix.
Right.
I spend about 20 minutes, 15 minutes searching.
Okay.
Then I check the IMDb number.
Right.
And then I start playing.
So what about travel, Dr. Singhvi? Do you like
I
travel?
love travel. I have maintained rhythm for now 30 years uninterrupted.
Right.
From my mid-20s, 35 years I would say.
Right.
Never having missed a June holiday for less than 3 weeks.
Lovely.
June is our month out, as you know. So it used to be 4 weeks in the old days. 4 weeks is too strenuous. You need a holiday after a holiday to recover. So 3 weeks, that is normally with one part of the family. The other part lives abroad, so their holidays don't match.
Dr. Singhvi, who was your political patron, so as to say? How did that journey begin?
My general guru, I would say, was my father always, because he's a multifaceted person. And it included public life, politics, academia, interfaith dialogue, of course, a top lawyer, etc. More particularly, if you say purely public life guru, I don't like the word politics actually, was Madhav Sindhya. Madhav Sindhya is a strange episode in my life. He is roughly 15 years younger than my father.
Right.
And I am roughly 15 years younger than him.
Right.
So it's like midway.
Right.
He came for some consultation, I think in 83, 84 to my father. I happened to be visiting from Cambridge, still studying and finishing my PhD. So I just sat around in the... I'm from Cambridge, he was from Oxford, a young man then, this is 83, 84. And after some pleasantries and discussion with my father, he kind of left. I had not formally... I was a qualified lawyer, but I was doing PhD, so I was not really practicing. A few days later, to my astonishment, I got a call from him. He somehow had taken a liking to me or had liked my few interventions that day or whatever. He said, look, I have some question to ask you. He had a lot of this pressure on his mind, his litigation with his family, lots of it. And he was a sitting minister, one of the youngest, most dynamic ministers. I think he was MOS Railways then, if I remember. So he said that, are you game for a drive from our house, that is his house, to Parliament? And then we'll spend some time inside Parliament also. At that time, I was complete novice in both formal law and public life. So I said, why not? We got together in the car and he started chatting and we discussed some issue of law for hardly 10 minutes. And then he just started chatting of general stuff. After that, it was an amazing, connect. Right till his death in 2001, he always embarrassed me by saying in front of Sonia Gandhi, in front of gatherings of the Congress, why the hell does the Congress not use a bright young man like him? So I said, Maharaj, leave me, I'm quite happy. It's embarrassing to say that. And he would say it straight away and everybody would smile. I must credit him with the fact that he pushed hard my ASG-ship. I became ASG also at the youngest age, 1997, at age 37.
37 years.
And I was doing well as a young lawyer. So they did it on merit, but Madhav Sindhya pushed it, saying that here is a chap who deserves to be you. And I owe it a lot to him that I became ASG in 97. Then in 2001, when he passed away in September 30th, literally 3 events in the 2 months preceding are amazing. One is he was a great host. He used to have these soirees and parties where we were a fixture, this group, and then a larger group. So this one was for Gujral. I think Aiki Gujral had got some award or something. And as the party progressed in the evening, Madhav would become very playful, very joking, very funny, very hilarious. And then the older people left. So we would sit and do all kinds of jokes for long. And strangely that day he stood before a portrait in his room. And he says, this is my grandfather, this is my father. And he tells me, Abhishek, nobody has crossed. He gave some age, I think it was 55. And then he said, nobody has seen their grandson. So I said, why are you talking about such morose things, Madhav? You used to call him Maharaj or Madhav. You're so pleasant and lovely. He said, no, I just thought I'll let you know. Within 1.5 months thereafter, he passed away. Though he crossed that age. Right. So he told me that I have crossed that age. Oh. So,
but I also want to ask you, you've been in close touch, you've done a lot of cases for even Jyotiraditya Scindia. He's of course shifted base, joined the BJP. How do you see him as a BJP leader and as a leader?
Jyotiraditya Scindia is very dynamic, very competent, very articulate. And the remarkable thing is that he was totally divorced from all this. He learnt it himself. Even beyond the time when he passed away, he was not at all in public life. He took on this huge shouldering of responsibility, and he kind of worked at it in terms of his diction, his delivery, his Hindi, and has become a leader of great proportions. I know the stories and the intricacies between him and the Congress and how and why he left, which I'm not free to discuss. I know the intimate details, but I think he's quite for whatever differences he had with Madhya Pradesh leaders, I think it was more of that and less of the Congress.
Right.
He had serious differences with two people in Madhya Pradesh, as we all know.
Yes.
So anyway, there are lots of other stories about that I can't share with you. But he left and he is doing well, and he's actually got not only first his main people accommodated in the cabinet in Madhya Pradesh, then his own Rajya Sabha, then 2 ministries. He's considered a competent and a respected minister. So what else?
Yes.
And he's got age on his side.
Yes.
So, I think it's great to see Madras India's legacy going on.
I also wanted to just take a detour and ask you about Trump tariffs.
Donald Trump is a person who should be taken seriously because he can't be taken seriously. He is a person who's a maverick, he's a zigzag man. So I think on the whole, we have to stick to a path.
But Dr. Singhvi, you're a corporate lawyer.
Yeah.
So, you understand a businessman, and I always hear that he's a businessman.
So let me explain. There is no doubt he's not only a businessman, he's a deal maker.
Deal maker.
Everything for him is a deal. But this problem is that old Shakespearean play we read in school is a veritable opal, Shakespeare said, which means he changes color by the second.
Yes.
An opal is a stone which changes color more than a chameleon. So his inconsistency is his most greatest consistency. You have to understand that when you deal with him. Secondly, in a deal, there are certain rules which we have been taught, and he follows those rules. First, ask for the star or the outer galaxy.
Absolutely.
Then you may get the star. If you don't get the star, you may get the moon. If not the moon, you may get something in between. So that's the policy he follows. Nothing is fixed in. There are no loyalties, no friends, no foes. So you deal with him the same way. Actually, the best way to deal with Trump is to deal with the same way as he does, minus the inconsistency. You stand straight and you say, look, and we have, and some of the things Trump says is right, and some of the things the government of India has agreed with him is because it is right. We do have an over-tariffed country. We should reduce the tariffs, and we've offered him a very sweet deal. But that doesn't mean that he can road roll me and say, look, the dairy which she supplies, the fish which you supply, the bloody, vegetables also I will do. Yes. So that's a fair thing to stand up to him.
But I think this is
And
remarkable.
also I agree that you do not say that Russian oil will be bought on the American.
I think it's remarkable you say that. I also think you were one of the few people after Operation Sindoor who came out and spoke as a nationalist.
Look, I don't first decide that I'm a nationalist and then speak. I speak on the issues, on the merits, and I have criticized where it's necessary. I have criticized the zigzags. I have criticized some of the lack of information and transparency. But there is no doubt that India fought back, India had to fight back, and India has sent a message which should not be and cannot be easily forgotten. Yes. So what's the harm in saying that?
No,
I have not said anything which is, contrary to any fundamentals.
How many times are you, sir, going to come to the Supreme Court in defamation cases for the Congress party leader and try and say that an apology needs to be given? There are defamation cases in Pune.
As many
in
times.
In the Savarkar case.
As the answer to your question, Rhythm, is as many times as false, frivolous, vexatious, and intended to harass cases are filed against him. 99% of these are of that category.
But Rahul Gandhi has spoken against Veer Savarkar.
No. You see, the whole meaning and concept of free speech has been kind of mixed up. Free speech is not what is pleasant to you, what is agreeable to you. I believe, and I'm not talking politics, I believe across the board, 19(1)(a) is almost reduced to vanishing point today. The reason is different. I'm not talking of BJP and Congress. The reason is that today, anything you say and do will be unpalatable to a section of the community. Forget the Congress and the BJP, forget the Hindu and the Muslim. It will be unpalatable to the Tamils. It will be unpalatable to the Kashmiris. It will be unpalatable to the Biharis. It will be unpalatable to the Bengalis. I'm giving an example only.
Yes.
Now, if you were to apply that principle of what is palatable, acceptable to you as a Bihari or me as a Tamilian, where is free speech? To cross the boundary of defamation, you have to have many more ingredients, which we don't wait for. You have to have a malicious intent to defame.
Yes.
You must have something which is patently untrue,
Yes.
not a subjective opinion. In public discourse, like I'll tell you, I have just done, I'm not talking, please don't mistake, I'm giving an example only by illustrative. I just got dismissed a complaint against Revant Reddy in the Supreme Court last week.
Yes, yes.
Which came to Supreme Court. I told the Honorable Court, even though they were dismissing it in my favor, I said, if this is held to be defamatory, there can be no political discourse in this country. The statement he made was that people are asking for 400 seats because they want to change the constitution out of recognition. Now, you may not agree with that. It may be false that they will not change. How is it defamatory?
But
it is to curb the 90% of the cases in this country today filed in this kind of category are intent to browbeat you, to silence you,
I
to
agree.
scare you,
As a journalist,
and
I
to
agree.
go all over the country defending these.
And it's ironically, they are filed sometimes in a Karnataka, in a Congress-driven state against Republic TV.
Now, I'm not talking again about Republic.
Yes.
I genuinely am not.
I know.
Especially because I was consulted on that case also, by the way. But, a cycle develops. That's bad for democracy. Vendetta politics develops a cycle. Defamation politics does develop a cycle.
Yes.
There will be retributive cycles.
Yes. Okay. Shifting focus, I want to come back to another political patron that you had, Dr. Singhvi, Pranab Mukherjee. Tell us a little bit about
The second person I met in the Congress intimately, apart from, of course, Sonia Gandhi, Madhavraj Sindhya was first, was Pranab Da. One night at 11 o'clock, Madhavraj Sindhya took me there. Now, Pranab Da was a very cute kind of a person, if I may use that word about a former president. He was a diminutive man, very stern looking, rarely smiled, never frivolous, and followed a routine without fail and interruption and change for all his 78, 80 years, whatever his age was when he passed away. I don't think he ever deviated. And it's quite a miracle that such a serious person had such a long innings in politics. He would sit exactly till 12, you could fix your watch by 12, 12:15 midnight in his desk. He would rarely go out in the evening unless there was an important party meeting. He used to tell me that he's sick and tired of so many GOMs which are on his head because he was the head of the GOM. So he had to host many of those. He could be very curt and very brusque if you were not in line. He'd straight away say, you don't know anything about this, you don't know. To ministers, straight. Now, when he took me that 11 o'clock night, he was sitting at his desk as usual. That was the time when people would come and go. And he'd be working all the time. He'd have a pile of files here. And he'd never sleep before 11:45, starting his diary. And he told me, Abhishek, I write one page of the diary only, not 1.5, not half. And he was mortified when 6 years of his diary pages were lost in something, with some fire or something in Calcutta. But the rest he has got for 50 odd years of political life, which is why he turned out 4 volumes of his autobiography from the diaries. He would write before sleeping, one page in his hand. So he would sit there, and over the years I started going at that time to him. I always told him that Pranab Da, politics has made a loss of a lawyer. Politics has made a loss of a historian in your case. His memory was elephantine. It's called eidetic, photographic, photogenic. You see a page and you remember it.
Wow.
When I became member of parliament for my 3rd term from West Bengal, by then he had demitted office as president. So I used to go once in a while. I went, as usually he called me, and once he calls me, he used to sit for half an hour, 45 minutes. That day sat for an hour. Congratulations, Abhishek, you've become this, that. Then he started telling me the entire, oral just like that, chatting, the entire history of West Bengal politics with the numbers that in this assembly, how he started Ajay Mukherjee's party. He started. Then how he joined the Congress. Each assembly election he analyzed. So many people votes for BJP, for Congress, so many for non-Congress. Then he went on about his... So this was he was a political historian, a constitutional lawyer, and a thinker of politics. He didn't have very great articulation. But his knowledge was mind-boggling. You just sit with him and you come back feeling awed. And I did that at least 10 times in my life, mostly in that room. He stayed all his life in Tughlaq Road, 13 Tughlaq Road, I remember. And then, of course, in the president's house. And this meeting I had was 2 months before his death. He had done most of the book. And, he suddenly kind of passed away after that 2 months later.
You've said once that you're actually a lawyer in public life. I see you more as someone who's not a politician, but more a lawyer.
I like that. I like to be thought of as an insider-outsider, which is neither outsider-outsider, I'm not out of it,
Of course not.
nor an insider-insider. And I think that slight distance from hardcore politics maintains my nature, my character, my temperament, but more than that, it maintains my dignity in that space.
Yes, I agree.
And also I have a professional life which I enjoy.
Yes.
So I am not prepared to give it up at the roll of a dice.
Yes.
And being insider. I have had opportunities to be insider.
Yes.
But it would not enthuse me, it would not excite me sufficiently, and I'd get bored after a while.
There's a lot said about your miserly temperament, and I see other lawyers. I've seen your pro bono work. I've seen you do a lot of free cases, do your charity. But a lot of people only talk about this miserly
Absolutely.
Temperament and how you want your fees to be collected at a certain time.
I have now become comfortable in my skin and under my skin on that issue. As they say, I have suffered the slings and arrows of a lifetime of this. I used to get very agitated. But it's very interesting how this is yet another perception which is 180 degrees wrong, completely wrong. I never publicize, you're asking me, so I'm saying the charities I do. I have a very huge scholarship in Cambridge, and the pound conversion is not cheap.
Yes.
Trinity College, Singhvi. It's called the Singhvi Trinity College.
And we don't hear about it. I
Well,
know
that's
a
the
lot
point.
of lawyers who
That's
really speak about
miserliness for
it.
you. That's miserliness for you.
Yeah.
I have an equal large managed Jindal University. It's in the education field.
Yes, again, we don't see
I
about
donated to the Supreme Court Bar Association when there were very few donations. Then they started making matching and competitive donations after this, like 20 years ago. I have donated, I had a mobile van during COVID times.
Oh.
On a regular basis, the Singhvi Foundation in various ways does a large amount of charity. Now this is personal. Separately in my MPLAD funds, a book has been published which Venkaiah Naidu ji, then Vice President, said a model use of MPLAD funds.
Oh, wow.
It was released by him.
Right.
He's the chairman of our house then.
Taking a detour from how I end the show, I'm going to thank Dr. Singhvi before that. He's one of our personal favorites, someone we're always inspired by. Thank you, Dr. Singhvi. After this, I'm going to leave you with a snippet of Dr. Singhvi singing a song for us. Thank you for being with us this week on The Legal Side of Things.
Hey mere pyare watan, hey mere bichhde chaman, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान, तू ही मेरी आरज़ू, तू ही मेरी आबरू, तू ही मेरी जान। ऐ मेरे प्यारे वतन, ऐ मेरे बिछड़े चमन, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान,